and all will happen, okay, at the same moment. Again, there is another memo where the attorneys complain is that we are asking for interest, which was part of the agreement, and that the matter will have to be settled. He stated in this very moment that so far as they can do it professionally, he has no problem. Haven't you even approved interest on the unpaid amount before the unfortunate incident between you and the former president who sacked you for insubordination, and then you hacked on this program in order to tell the whole world that the accusation you made against your own colleagues, ministers, where you could not find a proof, you hacked onto this, and you are Christian citizen vigilante? Everybody can. But that is not the only worrying issue. What is very much worrying about this matter is that Martin Alamisu Amidu understands clearly that Alfred Woyome never sued to the court on an inoperative agreement signed in 2006. No. He knew that Alfred Woyome sued, went to court on abrogated tender process that has received concurrent approval, which occurred in 2005. If the justices of the Supreme Court had read my deposition in full and in total, it would have been clear that I had never sued on a 2006 contract, which Waterville already had settlement with government on, but rather on 2005 bidding process. And if you go to the courts who have given me the opportunity to tender evidence through the High Court and to the Court of Appeal, you can see that they've all affirmed that. They've all affirmed that. I don't blame the Supreme Court, but I felt that the Supreme Court, I will talk about that one. So, Martin Alamisu Amidu is the same person that he had gone to court against. He said the first respondent is included because he was part of the same, the Attorney General, who superintended some part of the payment. And therefore, unconstitutional conduct applies to him. I said I'm constrained, so I will leave that aspect there. Why am I saying the Supreme Court is persecuting me? I want to start by this very statement here. I abide with the review decision of the Supreme Court, but I am unable to agree with the decision. The ordinary bench observed, and rightly so, that contrast rights are determined by adducing evidence, and to the extent that there is a pending matter in the High Court, which is the right forum, the ordinary bench will not interfere with it. One would have expected that the Second Appellate Court would wait for an appeal to them to determine. The effect of this is that I have not been given any hearing to evaluate my evidence, leading to a total shut of the door to justice on me. The Supreme Court appears to be persecuting me now rather than prosecuting the law. Didn't they say in their review decision that they are the apex court of the land, mandated to do justice to all manner of people? Does my being a judgment debtor take away the right to apply the same principle to me? After Amidu examines me, does he leave the enforcement to the AG? A critical question. Or the Supreme Court will clothe him with the authority to enforce. As a citizen AG, the AG, as it is, can revive their application to come back to examine me pursuant to their liberty to reapply. I am really being persecuted. I am being oppressed by the apex court now. The apex court now in the land, and it is worrying, very much worrying. I am not making these assertions in a vacuum. I disagree, again, and I so disagree, that I am not part of the 2006 so-called inoperative contract. But when the review court have stated that I am part of it, and I have taken steps to obey, contrary to what is being told Ghanaians. I wrote a letter to that AG, and we were on, and I stated that I will repay from resources that I will work and other things that I'll get to pay. I first proposed that I want to pay 8 million, and then subsequently finish paying in 24 months. When the AG refused, I'm not saying the Attorney General, but the attorney in charge refused of the case. We repeated the same thing before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court denied and threw it out. They chose a different path. The path was to assess my sins in order to bring shame onto me. And sell it, don't go me, and everybody was like that. That was it. And that's what I felt. But as the apex court, I kept quiet, and I wanted to say that, this thing, is it happening? Because I was paid legally. And those money also went to pay what I disposed of in the court legally, which Martin Amidu knows about. Why would somebody want else to go and, like some local banks here, to be talking about them in the Supreme Court? I mean, it's not fair. So they refused. And then when properties and everything were attached, they were all incumbent. Incumbent because of this long thing, and I've not been working. And since they were incumbent, they were interpreters. And I have seen that this thing cannot continue. I want to respect the apex court so that I also can make sure that I defend myself to the very letter. So we approached the AG department again, and we're talking. And it has not come to the notice of the general public is that after attaching my accounts and every other thing, scraping everything out of me, they got about 200-something thousand. But I said, no. I started to do whatever I can to start and rearrange myself to obey the law, to respect the court of our land. That's the only court we have. That's the only court we have. And it must be seen that every citizen obey their orders no matter what it is. There are opportunities for it, for the court to maybe depart from any decision. We will come there. But I was not given that chance. I was not. Now, as I spoke with the AG and the rest, they found out that no, the path that the attorney and others were taking was improper. So they decided to listen to it and discontinue this based on my promise to pay 4 million and also structure the rest payment quarterly at 5 million to finish the payment. Why has some people who have personal interest in this case gone and trying to create a situation in social media and obtain of a list of perpetrated recipients and here and there in order to create something against innocent people in the ruling government and even in the opposition? This is improper. The apex courts can never be used to tarnish the image of any citizen. Now, the content and the comment by the learned Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Duce, that of create, loot, and share was not part of the judgment. It was a dissenting opinion on which he stated those opinions. And those opinions have been debunked. It has been debunked because people who have taken the lower courts, who have taken evidence, have stated clearly that it was not so. And therefore, anybody mentioning create, loot, and share is creating a judicial problem for himself. Because it was a part of that judgment. There was no create, loot, and share. I don't have money to be sharing at Father Christmas. I'm a hard-working businessman. I work with several countries. And if you go to even to Togo, most of the time, I am in the front page of papers with them. I do a lot of things. I cannot come and tell the public what I do. I'm not running for an office. Neither am I interested in running for an office. Why are people hooked onto this? What are they trying hard to defend? What are they preventing to hold on to this? The matter is plain, clear. Sometimes I marvel myself. Now, about the Supreme Court, I will continue. They have given too much lateral thing for a man, Amidu, who has misinformed them. I was not given an opportunity to talk to them. Today, because of this judgment, and because the judge says, underline, that every process has been withdrawn and that he has made a new ruling, it makes me to speak now. And I am speaking as a citizen that I feel that the Supreme Court, the apex court, is persecuting me. One example is this. There was this case about one Abdullah Yusuf Fanash, who also went to the Supreme Court, and you know what the outcome was. Martin Alamis Amidu went in there, were all served. They were against us and everybody. The process was very funny, unusual. Martin did not sign his deposition, and it was served on us. And when we tried much as possible to write that he didn't send and everything like that, the following early morning, without withdrawing this, they came again to sign, to bring, what do you call it, a sworn affidavit. And to my shock, it was the registrar of the Supreme Court who was the commissioner of oath for Martin Amidu. And I was shattered. I was shattered. I don't know whether that is normal, but even if it is normal, I don't think the registrar should have done that to let me feel besieged. And through to my word, what we expected happened. Martin have been given today that he should examine me. Martin could go ahead, if he has the legal person, to tell the whole public as to what he knew as an Attorney General, working with Yoko, how those money were expended. But for the sake of the law and the sake of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I disagree totally with today's ruling, and I will do whatever I can to see to it that justice is done in this case. But again, I am committed to my agreement with the AG department to continue respecting the ruling of the Supreme Court. And although I disagree with it, this very judgment has created a big problem internationally. Apple. I will also not go on that because there are other pending cases internationally on this case. But Justice of the Supreme Court retired Datiba was the one who wrote the opinion on the ordinary bench that said that the Supreme Court had denied jurisdiction on this matter. Just 1 week after that, he went on retirement. Justice Doche, who wrote that create, loot, and share in that judgment, became the one that did the ruling on the review. Because Martin went, just after the man went on retirement, Martin went to the Supreme Court on a review. I was shocked to see that the whole 9 judges of the Supreme Court, all of them, have departed from their earlier decision and joined Martin. And it has never happened in any jurisdiction. It has never happened. They departed, and I was shocked to say that, can 9 judges make mistake? If they can make mistake, then woe unto us the citizens who appear before them. They all, no dissenting opinion. Then I felt even more that the Supreme Court is against me. Thank God to even give meaning to my fears. Justice Datiba, who ruled on the has written a book, Reflection on the Supreme Court. This book has been suppressed and suppressed. But I'm telling you, you should read it. You should read page 127 to 130 of that. And he's talking about the residual and specified jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to do justice. He concluded in that very big this is by saying that there is no harm in using the court as a last resort. So and so. And he said it is dangerous for the Supreme Court to assume such powers, and that it is left to us, my meaning, to fight it. This is Justice Datiba who ruled on the first one. Why should he go and felt obliged to write this book? This is the right book. This is how it is. To write this book. Why? Why? The question is, the propaganda, the lies, the vilification on a fellow citizen like yours is too much. 5 years is enough. If there were any iota of truth, they should have gotten it. It is enough. It has affected my family, affected myself, church members, many people. And I can tell you for a majority of Ghanaians who are the silent people are with me in this matter. And I think that it is time as a nation for us to understand what is good for us, what we should fight for. If you keep quiet, it's coming to you. Because Supreme Court judgment is not binding on Alfred Woyome. It's binding on all Ghanaian citizens, no matter how it is. I am determined to pay the money said by the Supreme Court, but I will follow the order and ask at when I have money, I will pay to rest this matter, but I will pursue this matter with the last drop of my blood until justice is served. But as for the government, Here it is. They were not in power when this thing happened. They were not part of the people or in the BNI who were discussing these matters with me. This matter was not supposed to be like this. But for certain people, am I the only judgment debtor in this country? The sole commissioner also did something. We are in court. I won't talk about that one. How many people are with before the Supreme Court who have not paid? Why me? And this, I am appealing to the Chief Justice through this medium to say that I feel that the Supreme Court is against me. But we will use legal means, and if we come again, let everybody pay attention. Everything about Woyome will be against Woyome in the Supreme Court. Just watch. Everything about Woyome. Now they have even opened the floodgate for 26 million Ghanaians. Each one of them can go and apply to say that I want to examine Woyome. The Attorney General's position, which is not for this government, it's Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, have been given to a private citizen. We will fight it to the end. Thank you very much. And please, play the fool. And if you want to do it, just play the fool. Picking, choosing will not help. Thank you very much.